Hello, everyone. How we doing tonight? Hel- Well, this evening, I should say, at least. If you guys were expecting the weekly outlook, not the weekly outlook, sorry, the monthly outlook, I just want to let you all know I don't have a lot of time tonight, so we're going to move that to next week. So next week, we'll be going over the July statistics. Anyways, you guys know me, how I interact with the charts. It does not matter for the first week, 100%. Right? I look at the data for the first week separately. It's NFP protocol. It trumps everything I do. And going into next week, then we can look at the monthly profiling. So it's going to be a little bit later than usual, where we do our monthly statistical outlook this week. But it's going to be moved over to next week. So hopefully that's not too disappointing if you guys were expecting that. Anyways, I like to announce that a little bit in advance, as it's an event that a lot more people tend to want to participate in. But enough rambling about that, right? Clearly into our charts, we had a very bullish week last week, so I am now in retracement protocol. What does that mean? Follow the trend, but be open to a retracement, which means that on every single day, I'm going to be updating my retracement target, my retracement objective. For example, in this case, this is our current range. So I'm going to look at the first discount and efficiency, this high probability order block. Whenever my order block overlaps with a fair value gap, I will use the full candle rather than just the body of the candle. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to have my mean threshold on my chart, understanding that if we expand past this level, then this gets invalidated. Overall, with 4th of July happening this week, by the way, so for my Americans, you guys enjoy Independence Day. And and for everyone else in the world, well, it's just a day where the markets are closed. All right, so I will be looking to be a little more aggressive early on in the week, Monday and Tuesday. If you guys have seen the news here, I'll actually bring them. I tend to do these announcements a little later now, because I don't want people to get tagged multiple times a day. I mean, it's Sunday, right? Enjoy your day, and then check in at 5 p.m. for the outlook. I feel like is a little bit better. I don't want to start pinging everywhere. But very simple. Monday, going to be trading, expecting a trending day, of course. And Tuesday, same thing, going to be trading after 10 a.m. Definitely going to be some weird stuff at the open, I believe, with Powell speaking. So I'm quite happy to wait until the next high impact news at 10 a.m. That is definitely a very nice thing to see whenever we have volatility event drivers right after Powell fucks up the markets. Wednesday, I'm not going to be too interested in price. I'm going to be half risk, only trading the morning session. That is how I want to engage with the day before NFP. Usually I would not trade that day, but now it's early on in the week still. Wednesday is a very high statistical day, right? There are a lot of statistical frameworks that occur on Wednesday, so I'm going to be interested in trading that. And then Thursday, I'm going to trade it like NFP. So no care in the world for the 10 a.m. news. I'm, of course, going to be looking for at least a take profit or break even if I am in a trade before that news, but it's NFP. So I'm still going to be looking to trade at 9:30. And of course, Friday markets are closed. I believe it's a full day close for Independence Day, so definitely going to be a little weird. But you guys know my mentality. I have very clear rules with news, and I mean, you guys are all familiar here, but I'm going to say it just for the people who are watching on YouTube. In our Discord, we have a resources tab. In that tab, I posted a while back about the Rice trading model. And if we go there, we can see a thread I made about how I use news, my rules with them, and how I use those news to find high probability trading days. And those are the only trading days I trade. Whenever we have a weird week, like this week, right? NFP is always on Friday. But now Friday, we have a bank holiday. So that makes it a weird week. The safe bet is just to go half risk. Now, I tell you guys with my personal experience how I'm going to interact with this week, right? So I'm going to trade Monday and Tuesday just like nothing happened. Wednesday is a weird one because now it's also the day before NFP. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to go half risk. There's no reason for me not to trade that day because there could still be a lot of opportunity. But since it's a little bit unsure, I understand that my success rate on those unsure days is lower. So how do I make sure that lower win rate, lower consistency does not affect my curve? And when I say my curve, I'm talking about my P&L, right? You want it to be a smooth curve going higher, right? You don't want it to be basically jaggy, right, with peaks. So how do I make sure I keep this? Well, I make sure that the days where I have a lower win rate affect this curve less. How? With lower weight, lower risk. So that's what I'm going to do, very simply. Now, we did leave a lot of low resistance liquidity to the downside, but I'm not expecting us to go target any of that before taking all-time highs. And anyways, you guys know my all-time highs protocol. If you were here, well, pretty much last year now. Yeah, well, that was a while ago. But last time we traded at all-time highs, it's bullish until proven otherwise. So until I have a full reversal with 2 or 3 daily candles forming a swing and validating bullish arrays, I'm just going to keep trading the trend. I believe I've said that for the past 3 weeks now, but the trend is your friend, and that's what I'm looking to trade. Even on something like this, it's important to note that when we are very bullish, we do not need to retrace all the way down here. But why do I have this level in my chart then, if we could just trade back down to this fair value gap and continue higher? Well, if we are going bearish for 2-3 days, I need to remind myself that the trend is still bullish long term. This is the specifics of why I have these levels on, and I'll actually show you guys how I personally draw them. I have, where is it? Fair value gap high and fair value gap low, and now I'll mention that this is a plus order block in the daily chart, and then let me get this, which is 21890.5. I like to be precise. Oh, okay, well, I just drew it perfectly first try, but usually I don't, and I like to be precise. But then I'd say plus order block, which means bullish order block, mean threshold, which is a midpoint from my daily chart. Now I have these levels on my chart, and let's say I was intraday. I don't know. I want to give you guys an example here. What are these random lines? Oh, these are the daily fair value gap. But yeah, if I was intraday, you know, I'd have my levels right here ready to trade. So just in case you guys were looking for a way to do it, that's how I personally do it. But I'm still going to be looking for expansion higher. And of course, if we do end up being here and even actually a little bit higher, we reach into the 23,400, sorry, then all of a sudden this fair value gap now becomes my first discount in efficiency. So I'm going to need to update that. And that's why the PA reviews are so useful for me as well. It's because I get to review everything and look into the next day in advance in front of an audience, keeping me accountable. I know a lot of people are probably going to mention that. I'm already expecting the comments. I totally disregard any SMT formed with these levels. I do not care. The trend is stronger than any sort of bullish daily SMT. And from testing, from in-depth statistical analysis of SMT, right, which is coming out soon, by the way, if you guys are curious, I have noticed that daily SMT is useless until 3 days after. So basically, if you see SMT on the current candle, does not matter, disregard it fully. It's when we form a swing point where we would say that that SMT is confirmed, then you can use it. For example, if it's getting a little bit confusing, let's find some daily SMT. There we go. No, never mind. Do we have any? No, not close. I remember we had a bunch here. No. Yeah. Okay, let's just look at this one. All right, let's find a simple SMT. So right here we have SMT, right? But as soon as price on NASDAQ broke this low, so on that Thursday, the 2nd of January, there is now SMT. You can say there's SMT, but it is not confirmed until this candle closes and this candle closes, and this becomes a swing point where then you can say it is confirmed. So until this point, you wouldn't use this SMT. No. Does that make any sense? Hopefully it does, right? I'm trying to not give you guys bullshit definitions and just say, oh yeah, wait for SMT to be confirmed and not explain shit. So hopefully that's pretty clear. And as for the weekly bias, I understand it is pretty simple, but you guys know me now. If you've been here for a while, it's always simple, right? And it is very efficient. Yes, it does. Awesome. So continue trading higher. After this level is met, I can expect some sort of retracement. So definitely going to be offering both sides here, especially if Monday opens and drives lower. Then I'm going to be looking for full reversal of that move on Tuesday. If Monday opens and just drives lower, doesn't even need to go all the way down, whatever, then Tuesday might be a reversal. Wednesday, we could see a small continuation retracement. Then Thursday, NFP fully get up. Or if something happens in the world, you never know, right? With the current world events, we're just one missile away from a 10% drop. So always be ready for that. Always look at every side for possible narrative. And when everything tells you that you should be going higher, start to doubt, all right? Because it's never perfect. You guys have to understand this from the markets. That's what I've personally understood for a while now. And that's how this move lower just makes sense, right? It's never perfect. When everything tells you we should be going higher, then question it. I believe it's actually Israel who has this rule where if every one of their leaders agrees on something, it's the job of the last one to disagree. So just a little bit of history here and there. Very simple bias, looking for higher. If you guys have any questions before we call it a day. As I said, if for the people who made it to the end here, monthly statistical outlook will be going on next week. I will announce it in Discord. No worries there. And no questions. All right, well, on that note, I'll wish you all a great rest of your day. Good luck trading this week. And we have price action reviews on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Yes, I was questioning it. I do have something tomorrow night, but we will have RPA review at 8:30. No problem. You guys have a great rest of your night. Bye, guys.